What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another Marvel Avengers video. In this video I will discuss some tips for the recent Black Widow build that I did, so hopefully this will help you if you decided to give it a try. I will leave a link to that build in the description below for anyone that wants to watch. If you find the build useful or are excited for the next DLC, drop a like and subscribe. Now let's get started. Okay, so now that you have seen the gear, the stats, and the skills, and I explained some of it in the before video, I wanted to take a second to discuss some very important tips for using this build or a similar one, because if used properly, you can completely destroy almost anything or any mission very easily. Starting with the first, I would recommend only using the guns, mainly the pistol shot, and spam as many headshots as possible. The point of this build is to avoid melee and rely only on using your guns, mainly the pistol shot. These will do some crazy damage as discussed earlier, but also increase your survival because you will be ranged and can just spam them from afar. Because of our skills, they will also help regenerate our heroic abilities and Shadow Ops ability very fast. Moving on to this, number 2, I would recommend you use charge shots to enemies with shields to stagger them. Every now and then you will encounter an elite enemy or one with a shield. If you charge your shots and then shoot, you can stagger them for a couple of seconds and then continue to rain bullets on them afterward from quite a few yards away, so they don't even have a chance to get to you. So in one of my previous videos where I talked about the fastest way to farm legendaries on the Day of Remains mission, you can tell that I'm farming one of the elite A.I.M units, and it's very easy to farm him because this is exactly what I'm doing. I'm running in, I'm using a charged shot to stagger him a little bit, and then I'm just completely spamming him with bullets, and he dies very quickly. Number 3, I would rely on Widow's Bite and use your pistol shots for elites or tough enemies. Now, Widow's Bite should have 3 charges now because of the skills that we set up, and is a very powerful ability. If you notice a strong enemy near you or targeting you, you should probably want to use Widow's Bite once or twice before spamming your pistol shot, and I guarantee they will be dead very quickly. Try to save Widow's Bite for harder enemies though, like droid bots, because if stacked, those and your pistol shots can deliver some serious damage very fast, and you'll actually find that you can get those out of the way and actually stay alive. Moving on to number 4, I would recommend keeping your distance and avoid taking damage to max your Shadow Ops meter and receive a damage buff. Keep this buff up at all times, or at least as much as you can. Now, Black Widow's Shadow Ops meter made no sense to me when using her melee attacks, because if hit, the meter will just refresh and then the damage bonus it provides is then gone. However, with this build, you can easily charge the meter fast and keep it up, which gives you a great damage buff. Now, if you want this buff right away, like if you're going to fight a boss or you're going into a room with a lot of mobs, go ahead and use Veil of Shadows to become invisible and then spam your pistol shots from range, and because of your skills, you can keep Veil of Shadows up longer with every kill and keep your Shadow Ops meter charged. While doing the 14th floor mission, I believe it's called the Last Avenger Standing, I managed to use this method to easily defeat many floors that were difficult for me with other characters. Number 5, use Veil of Shadows for large mobs or enemies to get Shadow Ops meter faster. Now, you may find at times that it is very hard to either fill up or keep your Shadow Ops damage buff because enemies will be doing ranged attacks as well. However, if you use Veil of Shadows to go invisible, not only can you charge your Shadow Ops, but with certain skills talked about in the last video, you can keep it up longer. I find this method very useful when farming rooms that have a large amount of enemies, as it allows me to defeat them rather quickly and without taking damage. Number 6 is get to a clear spot and then spam your bullets. Now, this may be obvious to some but maybe not to others, but whenever you can, go ahead and find a good area in the room or in the vicinity that gives you some breathing room and dodging room. The goal is to be close enough that you can still shoot the target and not miss, but also have some room to allow dodging and not aggroing any enemies. Moving on to number 7, use your high caliber shot if not a lot of mobs and difficult enemies are near you. Although this build is strictly about the twin pistols or the pistol shot, I have found that the high caliber pistol does a crazy amount of damage and can be used on difficult enemies. In the previous video, I briefly stated that I can do around 32,000 damage with a high caliber charged shot, which is absolutely insane, so if you want to give this a try, go right ahead. Be warned though that this build relies on Shadow Ops and not missing shots to actually output the most damage, which is impossible to do with a slow firing single shot pistol. However, I do of course have a lot of fun running around with it and one-shotting the weaker enemies. Last but not least, for number 8 is use auto rifle for big enemies to easily stagger them. Now, I haven't touched much on the submachine guns because I don't use them often with this build, as I see them for more of a health regeneration build that I'll be doing in the future, but they are still usable on enemies that have a ton of health and need to be staggered like droid bots or adaptoids. If you spam an elite enemy with these, chances are you will stagger them, thus allowing you to perform a takedown move and get a heroic orb, which of course is good for recharging Widow's Bite and Veil of Shadows. I wouldn't recommend using these all the time with this build though, as they require you to be close to the enemy, which increases the chances you will get hit and lose your Shadow Ops meter progress. Alright everyone, so those are some of the most important tips for the Black Widow build that I showcased in the last video. I do hope that you found both of these videos helpful, or at least found the build fun, and if you did, let me know in the comments below. Also, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more gaming guides. We are very close to 8,000 subscribers, which again is on our road to 10,000 subscribers. So if you could subscribe, that'd mean a lot to me and I would very much appreciate that. If you would like to reach me outside of YouTube, I am always available on Twitter at _Cerebro. Thanks for watching and I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.